All right, in 6.6, we're going to find the equation of a line given 2 points. So we keep stacking up the difficulty here because there's always one more step as we move through the sections 6.5, 6.6. So if you didn't watch 6.5 or didn't understand 6.5, this is going to be pretty challenging for you because this is just more difficult than 6.5. In 6.5, we had a slope and a point, and we came up with an equation. Here we're missing slope. We have 2 points. So recall y equals mx plus b again. Have this imprinted into your brain. We're going to find the equation of the line passing through these 2 points. So the first thing we did in 6.5 was plug in our slope. That's our first step. Well, we don't have our slope yet. So our first step is guess. Find slope. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to use slope formula. Okay, you've seen this before. Slope formula to figure out my slope. What you're doing here is it's not as complicated as this looks like for some people. You're just subtracting the x values and the y values by each other. Like literally, like 10 minus 2 is 8. 5 minus 1 is 4. This tells you rise over run. Put it as a fraction and that you're done. That's your slope. Okay, I will do it mathematically for those who didn't understand that little visualization. So y2 minus y1. If this is my second point, this is 10, the y value of the second point, minus the y value of this point, okay? And I like to always put them in brackets. That's a horrible fraction line. I think I just twitched. Okay, x2 is 5. x1 is 1. Make sure you don't have negatives subtracting negatives or whatever. 10 minus 2, 8. 5 minus 1, 4. Slope 2. Box it. Finally, now that I've gotten to this point, this is now exactly the same thing as 6.5. So this right here, slope formula, is 6.6. If you don't know how to do this, you won't be able to do 6.6. You need to figure out the slope on your own. And once you have the slope, we do the same thing as we did last section. Plug it in and plug in a point. Now we have 2 points here. Which one are we going to use? It doesn't matter. Both these points lie on the line. So pick the smallest numbers and plug it in. Not necessarily always the smallest numbers, but in this case, I'm going to pick the smallest numbers. This is my x, this is my y. Plug y and x, multiply, bring over. 2 minus 2 is b, 0 equals b. 0 equals b means it's a direct variation. So my final equation of this line is y equals 2x. Because b is 0 plus 0. And that's it. Slope formula, slope formula, slope formula. The most important formula in this, I guess, chapter. Because if you make a mistake here, everything else will be incorrect. So please focus all of your attention on using brackets so you don't make a mistake with the negatives. Making sure that you're starting from the second point always, and also making sure that your y values are always on top. Sometimes we've confused them because x comes before y, we put it on top. So we have to get out of these habits or don't develop these habits to begin with. Okay, we're going to do one more example. Okay, so this example has some negatives, so I can show you where you're going to go wrong in your slope formula. So I got to find the equation of a line passing through A and B. Okay, I just put a letter in front of these points just to give a name to these points. Instead of saying -3, -2, all those syllables and effort, I say A, and it refers to -3 and -2. So slope formula. M equals y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Take your second point, your y value, -8. Put it in brackets. Subtract brackets. This is what I used to do, actually. This is how I set up slope formula. Brackets everywhere, then just plug everything in. This way you don't screw up this negative sign here, the subtraction. Okay, now the next y1 is -2. See, I'm not making that mistake now. Let's take a look at the x's. I started here, so I have to start here. This is a 6. That's a -3. No errors because brackets are life. Next, this converts to +2 because it's a negative and a negative. And so does this, +3. This is -6 over 9, which reduces to -2 over 3. Okay, so a little trickier because of these negatives. But if you use brackets, or I mean use your calculator, make sure you put the negatives though, you should be able to get to the right answer. If you're not, you need to star it, highlight that question, ask, and try to figure it out, because this negative problem will be a continuous issue. Now, next, y equals mx plus b. I know m. I need to figure out b. I'm going to pick one of these points. Which one am I going to pick? Well, I'm going to pick this one. It's the smallest numbers again. I know that this x is going to be a 3, so it's going to be happy with that third over there. So I really like this point right here. It's standing out to me. So I'm going to plug in my y value as -2. Nothing else changes. My x value in brackets is going to be -3. And this is just plus b. Multiply. You could cancel this out. I know more than half of us aren't happy with that. So I'm just going to multiply these. This is going to be 6 over 3, which is 2. Now, this is not the same scenario as last question. A lot of guys are going to get 0 over here, and you are wrong, because when this 2 comes over, I get -2 minus 2 equals b, and this is -4. So this is a big time alert, because we just saw an example where we kind of did the same thing, except it was 2 equals 2 plus b, and we got 0 on one side. Okay, this is -2. You bring this over, don't revert back. Oh, I saw this scenario before, this is 0. It's not. They're different signs. This is a -2 minus 2. This is -4. So my equation, final answer is y equals, take your slope, put an x, take your b. Don't put plus -4, even though technically you're not wrong. It's just -4. Plus -4 is -4. It's the same thing. This is the equation of my line. And I'm done. Okay. If you want to create a graph in 3.5 seconds, just to kind of help guide you, please do. Plot these points. -3, -2. This is A. Plot this point. 6, -8. This is B. If I connect the dots and create a triangle, I can come up with my slope. For instance, how long does it take to get from -3, not how long, but how many units to get from -3 to 6? 9, right? -3 is 3 to get here, and then 6 to get here, so 9. What about up and down? From -2 to -8, this takes 6. Slope is rise over run. 6 over 9. Is this a negative slope or a positive slope? Well, it's going down to the right, so it's negative. Done. M equals -2 over 3. Okay, visually is one way, but it is necessary for you guys to use slope formula. So if this helps, use it, but eventually you have to wean yourself off of it and just use slope formula. Okay, so this is the equation of a line passing through 2 points.